Greetings, viewers, and welcome back. Red-Rupee here, calling the shots for you tonight as always, and we've got some great Dawn of War 2 Elite mod action for you tonight here on Meridian High City. 3-on-3 is the name of the game. Lots of big battles, big chaos. Let's see who our players are. On the red team, starting us off, Marutectz as the Lord General with his sword on high. His ally, Tyrannid Ravener Alpha Aguxyz. I don't know how to say that name. I'm just going to call him Agu. I'm going to have to ask him next time because I never know how to say his name. Already burrowing way out into the map. And their last ally here, the Plague Champion. Don't worry, I know you see the question marks down there. It's not a bad word. His name is simply Fear. On the blue team, we've got EL Hunter as the Space Marine Tech Marine. Already with shots out against his opposing commander here. His ally, Max Power, the man himself, who even crafted this very battleground we're about to see the skirmish take place on. And last but not least, Indrid playing the Hive Tyrant. Though never been seen in reality, some have theorized that he is actually a being of light, an ascended being who is devoted only to bringing you the latest and greatest in 40K video game content just for you fine viewers. Go check him out if you don't know him already. Let's see how this is going so far. Everyone's kind of moving into the center here. It looks like the red team seems to be securing the ancillary power and requisition points for the time being as everyone starts looking towards the center of the map. This map plays similar to Calderis, where everything will kind of funnel into the center as everything gets moving here. So far, we've got both tanky commanders for the blue team kind of pushing forward, kind of muscling their way around here in the early game against the red team, which really has three primarily range-dedicated commanders. Both sides trying to maneuver into the right positions, but these smaller infantry squads, like the Hormagaunts we already saw forced off, and these Heretics, they can't really move forward in these early stages in a team game unless they can find an army isolated by itself. When you have this many range squads, oh man, especially with the beautiful Force Commander battle cry right there, boosting the damage, those lighter melee squads just can't even approach. You can see even Indrid was holding back there until he split up these armies. Now that he's got everything under control, moving in that melee, Force Commander is going to push off the Ravener, at least keep him off his back for the time being. And now the allied Lord General moving in on the flanking position, blinding the Force Commander in a bit of a crossfire. Tyrannids are still on the field though, so it's still a 2-on-2 battle here in the center. Force Commander does get pushed off, unfortunately. Can't tank for that long, and it looks like the two squads of Termagants are going to get routed as well, and the red team is going to take the first central engagement. They did lose a few VPs here, already down by about 40. Nice quick reaction to that scout grenade, nice long distance grenade, pretty easy to dodge so long as you're paying attention. But for the red team, otherwise, it looks like they did get those ancillary points and lock that down for the time being. So, despite being on the back foot on the VPs, I think they are going to have the better map presence going into this game. So far, everyone looking like pretty standard builds. We got Tax, we got Termagants, we got Guardsmen and Sentinels on the field. First major purchases, we got heavy weapons teams coming out for the red team. Unfortunately for them, though, it looks like the blue team's ready for it. Sticking with trying to keep some melee disruption, I guess, along with their tankier heroes. We do have Ravener Alphas and Assault Squad getting deployed on the field as we speak, so those two setup teams are going to have to be very careful. Either the Sentinel or these Chaos Heretics are going to have to try to stay on the field somewhere and keep them supported. Otherwise, a couple assault jumps will be all it takes to push them right back off the field and allow the blue team the map advantage. Ravener already has some tunnels up all around the map, looking pretty good. Needs to make sure he gets those to their allied team's bases too, and he can really make sure that you can keep your constant map presence. Those movement abilities in team games can be so very determinative of those later games. Being able to move around in 2-on-1 in two different spots can be hugely advantageous. Between Ravener tunnels, webway gates, of course, things like mass teleport and all that kind of stuff. We'll have to see if the Ravener can really take advantage of those in this game. As it stands, like we called earlier, the Raveners already found these Heretics out of position. Plague Champion is upgraded with the Plague Sword, though, so he will be able to probably force those off. Unfortunately, taking a knockback there. Havoc's in a lot of trouble, but it looks like they will get home safely. At least that singular model that managed to survive. Now, here comes the counter burrow strike from the opposing Ravener brood. Raveners do have to fall back. Plague Champion has to get the heck out of there, is getting upgraded with the Blight Grenade. So between the Plague Sword and the Blight Grenades, he's actually doing really good with dealing with both the Tyrannid and the Space Marine forces. He's got the power melee for the heavy power armor of the Space Marines. He's got the Blight Grenade for the swarmy, blobby Tyrannid forces. And right now we see Hunter trying to grab back some of those victory points, or sorry, not victory points, those control points, the requisition and power that the red team's been holding all game long. It's currently a 1-0 cap against the red, evening the victory points right out to 450 across the board. I can't quite figure out what's going on with this army composition, man. We've got good, we've got humans, we've got superhumans, we got evil humans, and then we've got 2 squads of Tyrannid on either side, 2 brutes. Maybe all these humans came around to Meridian High City and they were gonna just poke a battle with their Tyrannid pets. I don't know what's going on here, but either way, it's gonna be chaos as we get going forward. Tyrannid's getting pushed back here, those Raveners getting beat up by opposing Nids, and of course the assault squad that's been requisitioned for Mr. Max Power. Devastator Marine squads, now more Devastators coming out. Wow, we're actually going to have 2 Devastators on either side. We've got 2 Havocs. Marutectz already heading into Tier 2, well ahead of everyone else. Max Power is going to be probably the next one, him or Agu. Agu can hit the button anytime he's ready. Scouts getting very low. Those Heretics wanted it a bit too bad, though, and perished for the cost of just a couple Scouts. Definitely not an even trade you want to make there. Bro Strike coming in, but there's really nothing up here to support the Raveners. They get shredded in the blink of an eye, surprisingly. Somehow they didn't lose a model and all that. Sentinel now waiting to get upgraded with those rocket launchers, taking a bit of focus fire as Maru heads into Tier 2. Blue team still managing to muscle around the Reds just a little bit, but even though the Hive Tyrant is upgraded with that Psychic Shield, there's still just not quite enough for him to just headlong charge against 2 different suppression teams along with those Venom Sacks on those Termagants, just slowing his advance to a crawl. Sentinel now upgraded with those rocket launchers, loosing a volley right into all those Gaunts and Gants, but unfortunately there's just not quite enough out here for it to continue the volley here. And now it's taking a bit of focus fire from the Raveners and Hormagaunts. Oh, it's actually staying out there. I'm not sure why it moved up right there. One more volley. Oh my, down it goes just right after it finished that missile upgrade too. That's a lot of power down the drain, unfortunately, for that upgrade to then just lose that squad, or not that squad, that vehicle almost immediately. Plague Champ now moving into position. That Plague Sword and Blight Grenade, definitely a huge threat to the assault squad and Tax. Unfortunately for him, Force Commander activated this battle cry, was going to keep him on his back for the duration of that fight, and everything is just going more and more range so far. We see just all of these setup teams trying to lock down the center of the map. We now see the sniper rifle for the Lord General, and he's also got just a bunch of turrets down on this side of the map, just trying to make sure no one can ninja cap that rear victory point. 2 squads of tactical Marines down here just getting assaulted from long range with the help of that sniper rifle. Lord General, of course, can activate, what's it called, on my target? Yeah, fire on my target, which increases the range of all of his nearby troops as well. So not just the Lord General with that sniping, but also all of his guardsmen, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing them get upgraded to plasma later on. Looks like a lot of Gaunts died over on this side of the map while we were gone. Tyranids facing off against one another. Unfortunately, without the hero support, those Gants had to just get the heck out of there. No upgrades yet for the Ravener. As we head into sort of the mid-stage of the game, everyone's hitting Tier 2 now. Max Power does have a Whirlwind coming onto the field. Zone Thropes coming out as well. Plague Marines on the field ready to deal with any anti-vehicle threats. Or ready to deal with deal with vehicle threats being anti-vehicle. I can talk honest, I'm a caster. And oh wow, this is just escalating more and more. We now have 3 autocannons onto the field. And 1 standard heavy weapons setup team back here with those 2 turrets. We can see the Lord General, and I guess the red team as a whole is just planning on hunkering down and just putting out unstoppable amounts of range DPS. I'm surprised the scouts went for the shotgun blast right there. Perhaps they didn't have the energy for a grenade, but realizing now they can't really stick around for that. 2 tacks go down on retreat. Plasma Dev is on the field though and nails one of those setup teams immediately, forcing a full retreat. I'm not sure if he meant to retreat those 2 squads, or whether that was accidentally a full retreat right there. Meanwhile, it looks like the Hive Tyrant's pushing back the Ravener forces all the way into his base. Not going to be able to stick out here long, but he is, if nothing else, getting a Gen Bash in over here, which is going to be crucial. This is a map that Gen Bashes tend to not happen on, similar to Calderas. It's a little hard to get all the way back and cause a lot of economy damage on your opponents right here. And oh, typical, of course, we have the Tech Marine set up with that beacon. Max Power playing the Force Commander. Normally Max Power is the man with the Tech Marine, and he's infamous for setting up these campy situations like what we see here, but really it looks like it's the red team. Wow, look, he actually built a third multi-laser turret over here. I don't think these scouts are going to be capping this point anytime soon. If 2 multi-laser turrets weren't enough, a third will surely lock it down. Even though there's no detection out here yet, Tech Marine is getting the Signum armor upgrade, so he's going to be able to start doing some serious damage to units and squads of his choosing as well. No further upgrades on him quite yet. Lord General still sticking with what he's got. Both of these assault cannons now moving into a better position to maybe help defend from this Space Marine advance. Good juking back and forth. He's really so far managed to mitigate a lot of damage coming in from these Plasma Devastators. Of course, that forward squad has lost about half its models, but even so, now with both the Space Marine and Tyranids moving in on this side of the map, it doesn't matter. Man, look at those 2 autocannons just shredding infantry. Gaunt's getting obliterated. 2 squads now almost completely gone. Ravener's moving in for the Burrow Strike, but there are 3 multi-laser turrets back here that just won't get disrupted no matter what. Now finally getting that squad in melee, will be able to force off everything. It looks like the 2-on-1 push over here did manage to force off, but they still have to deal with all these turrets unless he chooses to pull those back, seeing that there are flamers on the field. It looks like, oh yeah, 1, 2, and 3. He did salvage all 3 of those, got back the better part of, I think, 200 requisition or so right there from each of those. And all is quiet for the time being on this side of the map. See what's going on over here. 2 Havoc autocannons now with that Mark of Corn as we saw earlier. I mean, 4 autocannons on the field is just going to obliterate any infantry that comes out here. Ravener getting way back here. I don't know if that was a tunnel flank or what happened over here, but looks like the Whirlwind was there and able to rout the potential Gen Bash over here. They did lose a single generator, it looks like, but they didn't manage to return the favor for the full Gen Farm loss over here. Meanwhile, not everyone, sorry, we've got 2 blues headed into Tier 3. Marutectz bringing out Manticore to just kind of continue this crazy range standoff we've seen for both sides right now. So many setup teams. This entire game is going to be about positioning and advancing at the right times and trying to find the gaps in those setup teams, in these giant firing arcs where we're just going to see huge amounts of DPS going down for both sides. Whirlwind out here, probably a really excellent choice, all things considered, with the number of setup teams. So long as that Whirlwind can get some good shots down, those setup teams shouldn't really be allowed to put out too much damage, as they'll be constantly getting knocked back by those volleys of rockets. Of course, they're very low damage, but the disruption is really what you're looking for from that Whirlwind. And wow, those Formicons going home with maybe just a single model right there, and the Hive Tyrant looks like he's not going to be doing much better himself. Force Commander already upgraded, wow, for max power. Doesn't hesitate to go Tier 3 and get that Force Commander. Now, most of the other players heading Tier 3 as well. Mario's, of course, going to be a little bit behind as he just purchased that Manticore. But every side looks like they're just trying to get a combination of heavy ranged fire and then disruption for their opponent's ranged fire. Whirlwind firing a little bit short as it was firing up the hill there, as tends to happen in these games when artillery's firing uphill. It tends to fire a little short, so if you can attack ground, you can kind of mitigate that drawback sometimes. Right now, it looks like Manticore managed to rout that Plasma Devastator, but the blue team's still pushing forward, now almost with a 200-point advantage right now. About to get the red team completely pushed off the map here. Ravener is moving in on the far side, but takes a faceful of both Whirlwind and Plasma Devastator fire. Force Commander just teleports right into the thick of it, immolates the ground, of course upgraded with that heavy flamer that he has, both a nuisance to heavy infantry and gen farms alike. Meanwhile, Plague Champion now fully upgraded with his Armor of Pestilence, immune to most types of knockback, and now just ripping through Space Marines. took out 2 Plasma Devastator models, took out 2 Tactical Marine models. The last one falls just as they hit the retreat button. Looks like the Plague Champion's going to pay for it with his life, however, unless he's fortunate enough to get out of there with, wow, just a bit, 20 HP. Everything's just going crazy here in the center now as both players are, or both teams rather, are viciously vying for these victory points and this center battleground position, which is going to be so crucial. It's really going to be tricky for the red team to stay on the map, though, with the same tenacity as the blue team, as the blue team does have this beacon out here in the center. Oh man, and the Vanguard veterans just teleported in as we checked that thing out. And Guardsmen continuously escalating the firefight here, now fully upgraded with 12 models per squad. There are commissars and sergeants out here, now equipped with plasma rifles on top of all of that, so really a severe range threat to all kinds of Space Marine heavy infantry. Looks like a Tyranno formation comes down right on top of that med bunker, which was keeping these Guardsmen infantry on the field. And look at that, despite losing all 3 of his heavy weapons squad there, that sergeant remained strong. A capillary tower came up, spired right through a couple of them. Another one took a tank shot. He didn't care. He kept firing. That's the dedication of an Imperial Guard heavy weapons squad if I've ever seen it. 186 to 394 though, and the red team has to do everything in their power to stay in this game at this point. It looks like they've really been taking a beating. Now that we have some things, we're starting to see this heavy tier 3 stuff come out. Carnifex on the field. Indrid has lost most of his Gaunt squads, but we do have a Predator out here. We're going to see some more stuff coming in here shortly as well. Ravener again on this back line, not hesitating to put those tunnels way back there and try to distract Max Power from the front line and allow his allies to get in there. Vanguard veterans now moving in on these Gene Stealers, but I think the Gene Stealers can actually take them out pretty easily. Yeah, we see their Frenzy get activated. That health drops to half almost instantly. Loses a model there, and the Force Commander, even in his Terminator armor, can't stand up to the Gene Stealers and this amount of range firepower. Unfortunately, it looks like he decided to hit the retreat button right there. He was taking whirlwind fire, and with the Tyranid army moving in, he didn't want to get caught out of position in a way that a retreat would have cost him any squads from his army. 394 to 148. The red team, despite having this far point on lock, you can see, man, Maru did not hesitate to just instantly rebuild that med bunker, trying to stay on the field as best he can. Looks like a Devastator might be going down here if it's not careful. Sniped by the Lord General, getting the final kill on that heavy weapons setup squad right there. And now with both the Carnifex and the Predator out here, that's a little bit too much of a vehicle threat for those Plague Marines to deal with. And they're getting knocked around by that whirlwind. There's just so much great combined fire coming in from the red team right now. Tons of disruption, tons of DPS, and varied forces between light infantry, heavy infantry, and now vehicles on the field. Manticore Strike doesn't quite connect with that Carnifex upgraded with a Barbed Strangler. Autocannons will deny the count, instantly killing a attack model and threatening the squad kill if they wanted to try to stand there and get that Cat Terminators on the field now for Indrid, or sorry, not Indrid, for Max Power, I believe, as well. Phobos crawling up into the thick of it, though. And it's suddenly gotten a lot more dangerous for vehicles to hang out in the center of the map. That Carnifex thought it was going to be able to get in here, perhaps, and cause some trouble. Raveners do manage to disrupt one of the autocannons, however, the other's still up, along with the firepower getting dealt out by those dual twin-link las cannons. That's 4 las cannons if you keep track. There's 2 of them, and then there's 2 las cannons each. Spore mines now just don't even care. They're just rolling right in. No one seems to care about them either, because they just let them walk right up. They did manage to get a single detonation, but that Barbed Strangler Carnifex can just spawn those without any real problems. So they're not overly concerned with those going down. They're just meant to be a disruption. Hive Tyrant getting obliterated by the full brunt of the Chaos and Imperial Guard army right there. Again, Ravener on the flank, constantly getting the decaps on this side of the map. That zone throw getting way too close, though. Manages to activate his shield just in the nick of time, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Gene Stealer's now moving in on those Vanguards. They're going to bravely jump in to try to take that zone throw out, but man, oh wow, good thing that Synapse Bomb went off right there. I always forget the zone throw has Synapse as well, and that Synapse bomb singularly destroyed almost completely that Gene Steal. If they had decided to stick around and battle on, they would have surely been destroyed by those Vanguard veterans. Land Raider Phobos looks like, even despite being the giant battle platform that it is, still having a hard time moving forward on the map. Reds are just going to cap right under fire, though, here. It's a 2-1 cap right now. Max has to get back there and recap his natural victory point. Late Champion can tank so much damage. Not even concerned with it. Definitely getting into the stage of the game that these kind of setups right here are going to be super dangerous, considering that nukes can start coming down here at any point. Oh, and it looks like we have, oh man, was that, yes, Terminators now upgraded with that Cyclone missile launcher, and on these giant mega tanks here, you can see almost all of those missiles hit that thing and took it down to about half its HP. It's very potent against those larger tanks, even at longer range. That's kind of the drawback to the Cyclones, is that the further you fire, the more spread on those missile strikes. But against a target like a Land Raider, it just doesn't even matter. Takes huge damage. Again, Ravner just constantly putting up tunnels. Doesn't have a tunnel back by his home base, unfortunately. I think if there were more tunnels, if the Ravner had managed to take some time to put some tunnels up for his allies, they'd be able to get out here a little more quickly and kind of counteract that relay situation that's going on right now. Meantime, wow, oh my gosh, look at this. It looks like the Lord General called for an upgrade from the multi-laser turrets he had over here. Instead now, with 3 heavy turrets, we've got oh my gosh, we've got a Vendred coming in. I'm not sure that's a great idea, though. I mean, even so, Manticore Strike goes down on the Plasma Devastators that have been obliterating all of this Guardman infantry. Venerable Dreadnought taking huge fire from everything, and that was a very brief life in and out, unfortunately, for that Venerable Dreadnought. That's a lot of resources, unfortunately, wasted for Mr. Hunter over here. Not even the Vedred can stand up against the might of 3 heavy turrets camping this point, along with autocannons, a Land Raider Phobos. There's just so much going on right now. It's madness. 357 to 121 right now. Oh no, and the Imperial Abyss of Nurgle opened up right on top of that beacon. That's exactly what you want to do when everybody's just been hugging that beacon, pissing you off all game long. There's no point to just take that red you've been accumulating all game and just obliterate an army. Terminator goes down there. It looks like a Plasma Devastator kind of retreating to the wrong rally point, not where he wants to be right now. And oh man, we can see, oh, tossing that turn. That can't be a light Terminator, and tossed over the shoulder. That's going to be it for, I think, Max Power's Terminators. Oh no, one did get home, didn't it? Or no, that's the Force Commander. So yeah, that was the full Terminator squad down for Max Power. That's going to be pretty huge. You can see right now, just looking at the army screen right down here, Hunter down to just scouts and a tank pretty much. He's got the Plasma Devastator, but that can't advance on its own. Suddenly looking really excellent for the red team. Indrid down to just the Carnifex and a Neurothrope, but that's of course nothing to scoff at. Indrid is, however, sitting on just a huge pile of requisition, so I'm sure he can pretty much just rebuild his army whenever he's ready to do so. 3-0 cap suddenly against the blue team, though. Red team ready to close it out, and that's really what you want to do in this situation. You really don't want to give your opponents time to get back into this game, because it looks like it's going to be going long. I guess you just completely dismiss this side of the map for a while, because there's not really a great way to take that on. However, if you do, I mean, there's not really a lot else that the Lord General has. He's got a couple setup teams. If you can break this position, you can just make all of this wasted. Especially if you can maybe drop a nuke or an orbital bombardment right on top of all that. Granted, now a 4th turret onto the field. Maru's just not hesitating to just lock down everything he can with those heavy turrets. There's just so much firepower on the map. Let's see, we do have one of the Khorne Havoc squads left. One of them did perish, I believe, in the previous fights. But there's just, how do you approach this much firepower? You really need some serious disruption to try to move in on this. Manticore Strike doesn't even allow you to try to get into a good staging position to move forward. Anytime you start to think that you're getting a good position against this, you're just going to get obliterated. This is just pure madness right now. Those Plasma Devastator shots are doing a good job against all that Guardsman infantry, but even so, there's just, I don't know how you approach this. This is insanity. So much is going on in the center. The body count's getting so high. Even you can just see there's nothing but craters and corpses in the center of the map now. At some point there used to be a nice looking map here. Max Power must enjoy seeing his map get destroyed time and time again. Excellent use of the Neurothrow by there. As I was rambling about the map, you saw that entire mid-force getting routed by a Cataclysm and Paroxysm. Those two very strong area of effect abilities by that Neurothrow. Unfortunately, there's just not enough infantry really to push up and allow these vehicles to kind of keep the pressure on. There's just nothing that can stand up against autocannons, a Phobos, heavy turrets, that Lord General providing crazy ranged firepower from long away that you can't really answer too easily. And 121 to 210. The Reds are closing the gap. The only downside to the Lord General having all this is that he can't really support this side of the map too much. He's been doing a good job with that sniper rifle and these two guardsman squads. They've got, yeah, they're both, one's level 4, one's almost level 4. Hunter getting some Assault Space Marines back onto the field here. Another Zone Throw coming out here for Indrid as well. So he's just going to stick to a no-bleed build. He's got the Carnifexes, he's got the Zone Throws, he's going long-range damage to counter the long-range damage. Maru's finally heading into Tier 3 here. And it's still anyone's game, but it looks like the Reds really have it locked down. Unfortunately, since the Lord General's so stationary, they can't really move in on this point too much. The Ravener's done some great jobs so far. Agu really keeping the pressure on Max Power a couple times throughout this match. Now with the Redeemer on the field, though, this could really be the platform they need to kind of move in against all of this. Despite having all of this out here, they don't have a whole lot of heavy, just consistent damage. If they can get in here and break this, that's easier said than done, obviously, especially with the Lord General. Man, it's just, look at this. This is a true cannonade here. There's just, if you go towards this point, you're just lining up for a firing squad. Carnifex probably going down here. Let's see if it manages. Nope, that's one Carnifex down. Was that the, yeah, that was the Barb Strangler. Barb Strangler probably the worst kind of Carnifex for the situation, though. Although one would argue the Thornback isn't going to do a lot against this setup either. Both sides just have way too much to bring to the table for anything to just be able to singularly approach without just either losing a squad outright or taking severe damage. Look at those Raveners just instantly obliterated. This is insane. Another Paroxysm going down here right in the middle of everything. Probably will do some pretty reasonable damage to that Land Raider, or maybe it doesn't damage. It doesn't look like it damaged that. Did they change that to not damage vehicles? Maybe it was just out of the AoE and it didn't appear that way. My god, there's so much going on. Everything's just getting ridiculous in the center of the map. Vanguard veterans kind of trying to do what they can, but as we see, just any kind of melee is just, oh my gosh. There's just obliterated. Orbital bombardment looks like it's going down here on the far side. Third beam right on top of that Land Raider. I don't think one beam can actually destroy a heavy turret. That's good to know. Now, Tyranna formation going down on top of the Phobos as well. Took one Spire, but of course the Tyranna formation isn't really a huge damage kind of nuke right there. And as much as they're trying, the blue team can't get a hold of that BP. The best they can do is decap and deny the cap, but this match is at a standstill until someone can capture that center point. EL Hunter is sitting with almost nothing, and unfortunately, I think the longer this game goes on, the more chance that the blue team has of taking it back. I mean, just looking at the requisition right now, you can see, for instance, EL Hunter, despite a lot of people feel like, oh, well, when I kill someone's army, they've got to be out of the game. But you can see EL Hunter was making almost twice the requisition of his red opponents right there. So once you knock someone out of the game, you've got to close that game out in this, or they can certainly come back. It's one of the major comeback mechanics of Dawn of War 2 is that army upkeep statistic. So if you've got a bigger army, you better be holding the field, or you're just going to give your opponents time to build back up and strike back at you. Plasma Devastator not quite hitting. Sorry, oh man, it's definitely getting a little choppy here. Look at how many models are on the field right now. Just between here, I can't even look at the center of the map without the frame rate dropping, and it's madness. All is quiet for the time being. Just a couple echoes of Plasma Devastator firing, trying to probe into the darkness there. Make sure nothing's approaching. Good use of ground fire, just trying to keep this area on lockdown right there. That's an excellent choke point to really just kind of keep the pressure on. Oh man, Predator getting obliterated by a Manticore strike there. That thing had been struggling to stay functional for the last couple engagements. And look, the blue team keeps trying to just send a squad in to take a look at the center of the map, but they just keep getting knocked out almost instantly. Havoc's now getting back into the position along with the Lord General's autocannons. They're not quite set up to guard that point, but it just doesn't matter. Yet another Imperial Abyss being opened right on top of that Land Raider. All kinds of green going down there. Luckily, those Zoanthropes got away. Oh, I may have spoken too soon. One gets roped right into the thick of it. Looks like it's probably going down. I'd be surprised if it survived, but maybe it will do just that and defy what... Oh, nope, there it goes. Completely obliterated. Red team's just pushing forward full force right now. Thornback charges into the thick of the Blues army right there. We're going to look this way just so it comes... Oh my gosh. This is madness. This is completely and utterly madness incarnate right now. 3 Carnifexes now onto the field. 2 Venom Carnifexes and 1 Thornback, I believe, is what we've got right now. Ravener now moving in fearlessly. Another Tyrannoformation right on top of this Land Raider Redeemer, though. Fortunately, the Space Marines can use that. They do get a healing aura. They can hop inside of it if they need to. Deactivating the reinforcement beacon, or the retreat beacon right there, and then getting some nice use of those flamers. Those flamers do just shred and melt down all those gaunts and gants. No problem. Carnifex trying to do something against all these Space Marines, but there's just way too much here. However, it looks like the Plague Champ is going to go in for the decap on their natural point. Somehow manages to knock everything back, get the decap, and will he be getting out of there? That's completely insane. There's so much firepower there. Those Plague Champions get so tanky once they have that Pestilence armor. Escapes with 4 HP. 2-0 cap right now, 81 to 88. And the red team looks like they just might steal this away. Plasma Devastators now trying a different angle. Vanguard veterans over here trying to see if they can get a decap. Plasma Devs now firing on those heavy turrets. Gonna stay just out of viewpoint, but unfortunately get routed by the Lord General. Blue team doing everything they can to stay in the game still. It's not over yet. These Vanguards taking losses, but managed to get the decap by the time, stop the VP bleed, even get a bit of their own. It's a 1-0 cap now against the Reds. This center victory point I don't think has been capped for the last 5 minutes or so. This is completely ridiculous. Bioplasm getting activated there, knocking back some of those setup teams. Are there now 3? Is this 3 Havoc squads now on the field? Let's see. Oh, no, one of those is a Cinch squad, and then we have 1, 2, and... No, that is 3 Havocs. That is 3 completely Havocs. Oh my goodness. Max Power has been a little bit officious throughout the game here, getting a little frustrated that this game isn't over. He really wants this to be said and done, but they just haven't managed to do it. I can't believe the Reds are letting the VPs slip away from them like this. They had it almost completely under control, but now suddenly there's just a lot for them to deal with. These 2 Carnifexes, oh, now along with the Zoanthropes, obliterating one by one all of these setup squads. We just saw a Havoc go down. The second Havoc almost got taken out right there as well. Still so much autocannon fire. There's 5 autocannons out here, and they're just shredding the armor on those Carnifexes bit by bit, whittling them down with those explosive rounds. Oh man, I need a breather. This game's going on too long. We're 33 minutes into this game, and there's no sign of it ending anytime soon. The VPs are down to double digits, but it doesn't matter because no one can get a hold on this central VP. There's just too much artillery, too much ranged fire, and so much disruption and heavy infantry. There's just complete chaos and carnage in the center of the map. Zoanthrope Blast going off, Neurothrope's going off, Carnifexes do go down. Indrid's down to just a couple squads though. Not really able to provide much support for his allies at this point, making it very difficult for the Blues to move in against the Reds. Plasma Devastators are doing a lot of work, and it looks like the Terminator Force Commander is going to try to move in on his own and maybe get that cap down. There isn't much in the ways of knockback for the red team right now, but with the Plague Champion moving in with that Plague Fist, there's not a lot that he can do. He's going to just have to fall back and let the VPs stay neutral once again. More Cyclone Rocket Barrages going down right there. Plague Champion just tanking damage left and right, doesn't care about anything. He's just going to charge right at all of these setup teams. There isn't a lot of range support at this stage, considering that Indrid is down to just a squad of Raveners. He really needs to get something else on the field. I'm not sure if he's just enjoying the chaos that's happening right now, getting himself a Carnifex. Again, look at that Plague Champ's escaped so many times just by the skin of his teeth. And autocannons opening up. There's just nothing that either side can do right now. The red team has too much firepower and the blue team has too much knockback. There's Plasma Devs coming in from 3 different angles. Manticore has been trying to keep those Plasma Devastators under control, but it just can't manage to do it. We do finally have a little bit of mobile range support coming in from that Lord General. He does have a Layman Russ on the field upgraded with that Executioner Cannon. He's really been doing a great job despite playing a very turtly kind of game. Ooh, nice kill on that Neurothrope from the Plasma Devastator. Nothing is safe in this dead man's land right here in the center. There's just, if you're in there, expect to lose a squad, expect to lose a hero, because if you don't hit the retreat button the second you're under fire, even this great big Hive Tyrant with so much health almost goes down in the blink of an eye, even with the warp field, even being level 5, it just doesn't matter. Wow. This is insanity. We're now 35 minutes in, 50-62 as the points have been standing. It's just been stagnating at this stage in the game. The battles haven't been ceasing. Autocannon almost going down there to some ground fire by that Plasma Devastator. And we do have a Swarm Lord on the field for Agu. That's going to be enough to put a little hesitation into the heart of those Vanguard veterans, I'm sure. Swarm Lord charging in, trying to do what they can to stop that blue decap, or rather the cap of the central VP right there. Meanwhile, we have Plague Marines actually just keeping those Plasma Devastators disrupted. That's exactly what the red team needs to do. Get that knockback under control. The blue team doesn't have near the firepower that the red team possesses, so if the red team can just keep the knockback and the crowd control from constantly haranguing them, they should be able to do a pretty solid job. Nice flank by the Layman Russ here. Those Plague Marines bought enough time for the tank to get in there and completely annihilate that squad. Now the Vanguard veterans moving in, gonna put some pressure on that Layman Russ. I think they will be able to eventually take it out on their own, but it's gonna take quite a while. In the middle of the map, we've got Carnifexes, we've got bad frame rates, we've got heroes charging in, trying to take over whatever they can. Over here, we've got the Land Raider trying to do just not even moving forward. They haven't creeped this forward at all, and I think they probably could. There isn't a whole lot of anti-vehicle fire, and I think if they just rolled in there and got a couple jump squads in on these autocannons, the Land Raider and the Space Marine forces can maybe do the rest. But it's a dangerous proposition to be sure, especially with the Plague Marines still out here. Swarm Lord's kind of running around doing its thing, and of course there is the Manticore, so maybe I underestimate how difficult it would be to try to get a forward position with that Redeemer. But they have to do something because their points are ticking away right now. They're starting to lose ground against the Tyranid forces. Terminator's even starting to go down right here. Oh my gosh, look at this Plasma Dev shot. Beautiful, right on top of that Tyranna formation, now just sending Nids and Chaos Space Marines everywhere. A beautiful combination of knockback abilities right there. And it looks like the Blues are trying one last time to push into the center of the map. Again, we see what we saw earlier. These Vanguard veterans now level 2, so they'll take even more shots from all of these turrets. They still won't be able to get the cap, but they do get the decap, buying yet more time for the blue team to get back into this. Still getting the decaps on the center of the point. The blues are just going for decaps. They're not even getting caps anymore. They're just constantly holding their natural VP over here and then getting the decaps in the center and natural VPs of their opponents. Those plasma devs and zone thropes are doing so much work. We've seen squad after squad of setup teams die to those long-range firepower. Another orbital bombardment go down, 53 to 32. The Phobos has to move forward to avoid those orbital lasers. We have the Ravner getting the decap on the far side, but it looks like maybe the Plasma Devastators are going to try to deny that cap. Phobos taking a lot of damage as it was forced to pull forward there out from under that orbital bombardment. Neurothrope lays down some more AoE, trying to keep the blues back, but the Terminators teleport right on top of his face. They're not swayed at all. There's a rather injured Swarmlord now moving in to intercept the Terminators, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do anything. Ravner still can't get the cap on this far victory point. They can't get the cap on that, and their victory points are ticking away. The blue team might still have a chance to knock this out. 32 even across the board right now as the Phobos moves in. The Land Raider Redeemer now on the low ground in the middle of the map, really trying to keep all forces possible on the point. Zone Thropes, Venom Cannon, and Cyclone Rockets now just peppering away at enemy infantry and vehicles. Without the support of all those autocannons, the Redeemer isn't afraid to move in against this Phobos. It looks like we do have another Cyclone missile barrage, unfortunately not hitting the broadside, and didn't manage to take out that Phobos. If the Phobos had been turned maybe 90 degrees, it would have finished that off. I'm not sure if this Phobos is going to be able to survive the assault with now both the Carnifex, the Redeemer, and everything. 13 points left for the Reds. They still haven't capped their own point. There's so much that has gone down right here. 2 orbital bombardments going down on their own natural victory point, and it looks like with the center cap, that's going to be it. The blue team manages to steal it away from the Reds in the final moments of the game. Oh, I'm out of breath. Oh, what madness have we witnessed here today on Meridian High City. Whew. That Lord General had this lockdown until the very end. That very end, they just didn't... I think they were just so focused on the center of the map over here that they were unable... They just had no idea the Ravner wasn't actually capping this side of the map, and there were 2 Plasma Devastators completely denying that side. That's look, the body count, there has to be at least 300 models on the screen right now. I can't even imagine. This has to be the most ridiculous I've seen a game on Meridian High City, and it's got to be in my top 5 3-on-3 matches ever. But man, what a match. Some great Ravener play. Agu keeping max power on his toes all the time. Max power with that Land Raider Redeemer was crucial at the end of the match, and we saw 5 autocannons on the field at once. 5 autocannons, 4 heavy turrets. That was madness. Complete and total madness. Anyways, I hope that'll hold you guys all over for a little while, because man, that's about all I'm going to be able to muster for the time being. Whew, I'm gonna go take a nap now. That was ridiculous. Anyways, feel free to like, subscribe, follow me on all the social media, stop by Twitch. I've been streaming from time to time. Catch me in the live. Send me your replays. This is Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time.